Den amerikanske fotografen Peter Best har vakt oppsikt med sine bilder av svartmetallere med liksminke og gangsterrappere med skytevåpen. Men hva skjer når han vender linsa mot norsk dansebandkultur? Kamera har vært hans eksklusive inngangsbillett til musikkverdens mest lukkede miljøer.
Look right at me. I really prefer the shadow one. Yeah, me too. There we go.
Det begynte i Norge.
Let me get you right over here.
Som mange rockeinteresserte rundt om i verden lot Best seg fascinere av den særegne norske black metal-musikken. Resultatet ble fotoboken True Norwegian Black Metal. Men norsk svartmetall er ikke den eneste musikksjangeren Best er opptatt av. Han har også dokumentert rappkulturen i hjembyen Houston. Best er ikke bare interessert i artistene, men også i miljøene som har fostret dem. Både den egenartede livsstilen, med sine koder og symboler som skiller skarpt mellom innenfor og utenfor, og den alminnelige hverdagen. For 3 år siden tok Beste med seg kamera inn i nytt musikalsk landskap. Nemlig den norske dansebandkulturen. Denne helga ble Peter Best sine bilder av dansebandfolket vist for første gang på en utstilling på Rockheim i Trondheim. Der skal de henge fram til mai. Peter Best, you wanted to document this culture that we call danseband culture. Where did you hear about it?
During my time in Norway documenting black metal, Ivar from the band Enslaved told me a dance band was even more satanic and darker than black metal. And of course, coming from a member of Enslaved, that really intrigued me. So I started doing my homework and researching it, and I decided to make it my next photo project.
And how was your meeting with this danseband culture for you?
It was great. I had lots of fun. I went to various dance galas and race car events and other things around Sweden and Norway.
As a photographer, what did you notice about this culture visually?
The very colorful elements, everything from the tattoos to the dance caravans, the mountain and beautiful scenery, the backdrops, just the small details of the fans.
Did you like the music, though?
Not particularly. I wasn't drawn in because of the music. That wasn't my motivation for doing the project, of course. It wasn't because I was a fan of the music. And the same goes for the black metal. I didn't come here as a fan wanting to photograph my favorite bands. It was more of the aesthetic and the culture behind it that attracted me, which is what kept my attention for so long.
En kompis jeg har en lekker Chevrolet. Den blinker og skinner som et smykke.
After having documented the dance band now, how do you regard it?
I love it, and to be honest, I don't think I'm finished with it. I've been over here twice working on it, and I like to spend more time in a subculture than that, especially one that I had no prior knowledge of. So I really want to try to come back this summer and for an entire month, and so I can make a book on the topic.
What do you love about it?
Well, it reminds me of my upbringing to a degree. Being from Texas, there's a lot of similarities, and also spending all this time in Norway photographing black metal. It was just so much darkness. There's obviously a whole lot more to Scandinavia than the doom and gloom. So I wanted to counterbalance that with something a little more lighthearted.
Rune Rudberg was one of the people you wanted to meet. Why?
Well, I heard lots of colorful stories about him, and And he ended up being kind of like in my eyes, the sort of not the Frost of the dance band scene. He says, the only thing Norway has to offer as far as sex, drugs, and rock and roll is Rune Rudberg. So,
whereas Not the Frost, you caught him on camera doing something strange with his toenails?
Yes, he collects various of his body parts, and well, body parts isn't quite the right word, but his toenail and pubic hair and other, bodily elements that he uses to make art with.
There have to be some blood on it, you have to tear it from the root of the toes so it gets a bit infected afterwards.
Just yesterday I saw some of his paintings that he made out of his own blood.
That's beautiful.
And how does Rune Rudberg compare to that?
Well, he doesn't compare to that exactly, but I see him as, very photogenic, and I loved photographing Not the Frost, and they're both very colorful characters, and they're both very known in their own individual scenes. So I think that's the connection I made, was for that reason.
You yourself look very different from all of the people you photograph, yet you seem to get very close with your camera. How do you do that?
I don't really have a formula for that, but I think they can tell that I have honest intentions.
Do you have to spend a lot of time with them to get close?
Yes. For the Houston project, I would get access to one or two people. They would tell their friend that I was okay, and it would move like that in kind of a networking fashion. So over time, the doors would open to me.
Have you ever been afraid, though?
Not in Norway. In Houston, I've had a few scary experiences. A white guy coming into the ghetto with a camera is automatically, people are very skeptical. They think I'm a police or a spy of some sort. I think the scariest and most drawn-out experience was going to Gangsta Nip's house, who was one of my favorite childhood rappers. And he wasn't happy with us showing up unannounced, and he comes out staring me up and down, and as he kind of encircles me, going on this 10-minute monologue about disrespect in the Nation of Islam and all these other topics. And near the end of his rant, he picks up his shirt and shows me his gun and tells me to come back when I have some money to pay him for photographing him. So that was a bit of a tense situation, but since then we've become friendly, and I photographed his next album cover, so shout out to Gangsta Nip.
These photographs from the ghetto hood in Houston will be published in a book this autumn. Some of them show drugs, strippers, weapons. Are you, in fact, in danger of reinforcing the stereotypes that we might have?
Well, I've been very conscious of that, and that's one of the reasons the project has taken me so long. There definitely is an element of the dark, but I've been very conscientious to show the other side of it as well. For the average rapper, I have to take 20 photos of them posing and acting tough for the one vulnerable, honest, real photo that I use. So that's usually my approach. I don't mind stroking their ego a little bit in order to get them to open up and be real with me, because that's ultimately what I'm trying to do, is just get past the facade.
Don't you wish sometimes you can be free from incarceration?
What about the portraits of the black metal people? These people are very good at building myths around themselves. Aren't you, in fact, helping them build these myths?
Yes, some of the photos are very enforce those myths, but
take your portraits of Gal. He's been convicted for extreme violence, but I find your pictures of him quite alluring. Is that a problem?
No, I mean, he's a multidimensional person, and I like to humanize him and all the other people. So I have some grim and disturbing photos of him, and then I try to counterbalance that with showing the more vulnerable moments of him. But he's both of those elements are aspects of his personality. So again, I have to show all of that, or else it wouldn't be honest.
Who of them have the biggest egos?
Oh man, I don't know if I should get into this because they all do. I mean, they're all, they like to make tough faces and, hold up guns and these status symbols, these symbols of power. And black metal have their own symbols of power. And that, of course, is part of the overall visual aesthetic of that culture. So I'm not going to ignore that, but to balance that out, I like to show the soft-hearted moments when, when they're with their children or with their mothers or just alone, deep in thought when they don't think there's a camera in their face,
What do they have in common, these three very different cultures?
Well, they're all, I guess, outsider cultures, you could say, on the fringe of society.
Do we need this fringe of society?
I think so. I mean, I think, everybody gravitates towards the middle. It gets boring, From country to country, we see basically similar news. Hollywood is all over, so we hear the same music, see the same films, so everybody has similar points of reference. And I think that's getting more and more extreme as the years go on. So at least in my perception, some of these subcultures, in a way, are dying out or just becoming homogenized. So it's, I come from like a cultural anthropology standpoint to where I think it's very important to document these worlds before they disappear. So for me, I like to make a record of it.